The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales would like to invite everyone to their newly renovated events hall, a beautiful 9,600 square foot facility that features a 5,500 square foot main hall and a separate 600 square foot conference room. Renters have access to our huge kitchen, large stage, tables, chairs, bar, and covered outdoor cooking. So plan your next wedding, party, conference, and more at The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
You could be driving.
Happy Honda Days are back for the most wonderful time of the year at Team Honda. The savings are high on every new Honda. And with our Buy Here, Sell Here program, you'll get top value for your trade. Happy Honda Days from Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Welcome as we start today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well and warm with you and yours since the last opportunity we had to spend a little time with you roughly some 24 hours ago. We start today's show talking Louisiana news and crime in particular. It is something that is occurring all across the nation, and obviously, Louisiana is no exception. It is painful to watch the ungodly loss of life. I think we can all agree on that, whether we are Republican, Democrat, Independent, what have you. But particularly for those of us that are on the conservative side of the aisle, it's painful in that we now have to divert resources and funding for something that should and could be handled at home. For many years, we've bemoaned government wasting our tax dollars. Clarence, they don't ever do what they say they're going to do with the money, and they never seem to solve any problems. If anything, the problems get worse. Well, as you've heard me say before, there are many things in life that are totally outside of our control. We can't do a darn thing about them, try as we might. But there are any number of things that are within our control. And typically, when things are within your control and you don't address them, the phrase that I coined years ago comes to fruition. When you fail to govern yourself, you consent to be governed. And the fact of the matter is, when it comes to being governed, very seldom, if ever, is it cheap. Law enforcement officials here in the southern part of our state, Iberville, West Baton Rouge, Point Capee parishes, convening this week to figure out what can we do to deal with juvenile crime and the incarceration that obviously is needed. While I am one of those, and you know your buddy Clarence, I've been a conservative all my life. I make no bones about it. I make no apologies for it. Growing up in a military household, love me some God and country. It's who I am. It's what I do. But at the end of the day, when at all possible, I want the government to keep its grubby little fingers out of my pocket. At every turn and every nook and cranny, find another way to do it. Because when all is said and done, government has no money other than what they take from folks when they work. It's a sad commentary, y'all, that we're going to have to spend dollars that could more wisely be used and more productively used in other factors. But, you know, it is what it is. The Baton Rouge Police Department announcing this week that they're going to be stepping up initiatives, including the use of SWAT teams and aerial drones. You know, technology is a wonderful thing till it breaks, but that's a different show for a different day. But it's painful to think where these resources could be used. But instead, because so many of us fail to govern ourselves, now government has to step in and govern us. Law enforcement from multiple parishes colluding this week on what to do about the problem of juvenile crime, and more particularly, housing these young people. In addition, we are also now seeing the BRPD ramping up initiatives to stamp out crime, and Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome introducing on yesterday her own initiatives to combat crime, saying in part, quote, "We know that public safety is a priority for my administration, our council members, and a priority for our entire city and parish. The mayor's office will work with local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to establish a 3-year violence reduction plan involving the Department of Justice. They will come in and help our law enforcement community establish a strategic plan for violence reduction." You know, it's a sad commentary that we have to approach what is arguably, and y'all can get mad with me if you want, if you want to. It's not the first time, it's not going to be the last time. But this is just a matter of common decency, y'all. Pure and simple. And on the adult side, it is common decency. On the juvenile side, I think it's just a matter of very poor parenting. Just this week, 3 juveniles shot in Point Capee Parish, y'all, in the city of New Roads. Last night, a 17-year-old, although he's not from Louisiana, steals a police car in Mississippi and leads law enforcement on a multi-state chase with speeds in excess of 130 miles an hour. The problem, y'all, is all across this country. And the fact of the matter is, when you're talking juveniles, it pretty much comes down to parenting. Pure and simple. Now, at some point, when so-called parents fail to exercise good parenting, well, that's where you and I get the privilege of going into our wallets to pay for facilities to be sure that we house these young people. Marty, do some quick math for me, if you will. 200 times 600. Oh, wait, I can do that one. 200 times 120,000, right? Right now, just in our region, we are spending $120,000 a day to house juvenile offenders in Alabama. Now, in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to government spending, $120,000 may not sound like a big deal. You still got your calculator up, Marty? What is that for a year? 120,000 times 365. Yeah, you got to reach for his phone now. Yeah, and we went to public school. Yeah, sure did. Sure did. 120,000 a day may not sound like a whole lot of money until you look at it annually. And whatever that number is, Marty's going to come up with it here shortly. I see his thumbs over there just working on the phone. 43,800,000 a year is what we are spending for Alabama to house juvenile criminals from Louisiana. Now, we've seen this problem building and building and building over time. So if you figure 43 rounded off to 44 million a year, do that time 5 and see what the number is. You're talking, you're talking well in excess of $200 million that we could have used right here at home to help deal with problems. It is a sad commentary, y'all, about what we have allowed our society to become. Pure and simple, this one is on us. And as I mentioned before, there are lots of things in life that you can't control. Try as you might, it is completely outside the realm of your control. But English teachers, forgive me in 3, 2, 1. This ain't one of them, y'all. This ain't one of them. And unless and until parents either step up to the plate and become real parents, unless and until that happens, we will continue to waste the scant resources that we have in Louisiana. And at least in this particular instance, we will have no one to blame but ourselves. First break of today's show. Going to deviate a little bit, although still talking about Louisiana things. The entire black and gold nation in shock today. If it weren't bad enough that Drew Brees retires, now we look up and Sean Payton bidding us a fond farewell. We'll spend some time with a great friend of the show and your co-host of Tigers Roar, Jonathan Poche, talking about the exodus of Sean Payton when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Hi, gang. Clarence Bugs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bugs Show. It was, I guess, roughly about 25 hours ago when I found out that Sean Payton was stepping away from the Saints. Dear friend of the show and your co-host of Tigers Roar, Jonathan Poche, during a commercial break as we were taping this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show, walked in, phone in hand, with, quote, the look on his face. And he informed us at the time that Ian Rappaport was reporting that Sean Payton was walking away from the Saints. On the way home, as I was digesting all of this, I'll be honest with y'all, because you know your buddy Clarence. I'm not going to lie to you. I asked you to do the same with me. I wanted to be mad. I did. I wanted to be upset. How could he do this to us? But then I said, well, wait a minute, bro. Hold on. 16 years, brought you a Super Bowl, division championships, the whole nine, literally helped save a city after Katrina. How can you be mad at the guy? So to help us make sense of all this, Jonathan Poche now joins us, your co-host of Tigers Roar, and I need to add, a die-hard black and gold Saints fan. Jonathan, how are you this morning, my friend?
CB, I'm doing fine, my man. I appreciate you having me on the show today.
All right, so let's start with the obvious. Did you see this one coming, Jonathan?
To answer it simply, CB, no, I was not ready for this news. Well, fortunately, when you have a great coach in the NFL, when the season's up, there's always kind of rumors about one team wants him, and there's interest from coach. And a lot of those times, obviously, they were just rumors. And Sean Payton has been well compensated by the Saints for his contribution to the organization.
Right.
And all good things must come to an end, CB. And the New Orleans Saints fans, me included, have been blessed with stability for the last 16 years. With ownership, front office, general manager, head coach, quarterback. I mean, you lose Drew Brees last offseason, and Saints fans get their hearts broken again this January without even making the playoffs. Head coach Payton, and now he's going to step away from the team. Yeah, I completely understand your sentiment of you wanted to be angry about it. Look, nobody in South Louisiana, especially around New Orleans, likes change.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel like you have a good thing going, I mean, if it's not broke, you don't want to fix it. The Saints fans have been blessed with a competitive team. A guy that completely, in every sense of the word, changed the culture of New Orleans Saints football. My family has had season tickets for a very long time. I can remember games that were blacked out because there weren't enough tickets sold, so it wasn't going to be on TV that week. And then he had companies to buy hundreds of tickets just so the local television station would air the game. And Coach Payton did a great job in his press conference yesterday, speaking about his memories with the organization and the team, and a lot of that revolved around the 2006 year. Sean Payton came in as a first-time head coach, a guy that had made stops around the NFL, but only 43 years old. He got his first opportunity under Tom Benson. And he brought some guys with him, but he had to have a great free agency class, which obviously we know that the team drafted Reggie Bush second overall.
Right.
They brought in Scott Fujita, Mark Simoneau, Scott Shanley, a lot of different guys in that defense to come in. Of course, you also had guys like Will Smith that were already on the team, Freddie Mac. I mean, Sean Payton just went through the whole roster of guys back 2016 where it was his first opportunity as a head coach in the league, and he really wanted to put his stamp on the team. So the off-season training camp was in Jackson, Mississippi, and that's right where Deuce McAllister grew up. So Deuce was excited about it, but they all talk about how hot it was for that training camp and how they had two-a-days. This is before the NFL had that player agreement where practice time was kind of limited and hitting was limited. Well, Sean Payton wanted his team to be a very physical, very tough team, and if you weren't really buying into that right in the beginning, you were going to get weeded out. And I think in 2006, obviously the team had early success, won the NFC Championship against Chicago, and that was just a launching point for 15 seasons of high-quality football. 5 postseason appearances, 5 division championships, and a perennial contender. Just you can't say enough about what he did for the team on the field, but also off the field, CB. I know I'm kind of ranting a little bit here, but I was in the Superdome that first Monday night against the Falcons when Steve Gleason blocked that punt in the rebirth game.
Electrifying.
That is a memory, CB, that I will never forget my entire life. I was very blessed to be there, and I have to thank Sean Payton to be a very big instrumental part of that core memory of mine.
What do you think, as a guy who's from the area, loves the franchise, appreciates good coaching, good playing, what is his legacy going to be more impactful, on the field or off the field? What does your gut tell you?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, you can't have one without the other. Like, a successful Saints team brought so much hope to that entire city, that entire region. My family included. I mean, we were so personally touched. I mean, the damage from Katrina was obviously immense throughout my neighborhood and neighborhoods surrounding. And just to have something to give you a break, a mental break from the trial you're going through week to week, with trying to rebuild your family, your home, your business, your entire lives. But the Saints, I mean, they just provided so much hope and energy and a shot of life back into that city that if the Saints weren't around back in 2005, 6, 7, I do not believe New Orleans would have bounced back in the way it did after Katrina. I mean, it was just so instrumental. So on the field, obviously the success was astounding. I mean, you talk about winning duos between Sean Payton and Drew Brees, are the winningest combination, only behind Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And I mean, 21-9 against the Falcons is something that the Saints fans can be really proud of for Sean Payton. And his last game, if it is his last game coaching, will be another win against Atlanta in convincing fashion with a quarterback like Taysom Hill.
Right.
For the Saints to go 9-8 last season with all the trials they went through, I mean, everybody struggles with COVID, but nobody was hit harder than the Saints. You think back to that Monday night game against Miami when they went to Miami with 30 players on the roster.
Right.
The 4 different quarterbacks. You lose Jameis Winston early in the season. Just so many different details you have to overcome before you actually play the game. So I thought the quality of product that Sean Payton was putting on the field was still there. I do think that if like a Drew Brees or a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers was still in the building, Sean Payton would have had a harder time stepping away from football. But look, the guys that are in the room are the guys that Sean Payton picked. Like, this team has championship level defense right now.
Yep.
And they're not leaving the cupboard empty, so to speak, the next coach. There will be some challenges. Nobody ever wants to be the guy to replace a legend.
Right.
And that's what Sean Payton is for the Saints. He's an absolute legend.
So, do you have a gut feeling? Will the Saints, quote, promote from within, or are they going to look elsewhere for a new coach?
Well, I think there will be interviews conducted around the league, deserving candidates. Look, I think Sean Payton, knows how to be professional. He did not want to be a distraction from what was one of the greatest weekends of NFL football to recent date in the divisional series. Of course, you had the championship games coming up this weekend, and a lot of teams are out there interviewing head coaches, and Sean Payton understands this, and he doesn't want to handcuff the Saints and being late to the party of interviewing guys and getting their candidate. And I think there are a lot of valuable coaches out there in the world that the Saints can bring in. But to your point, to promoting within, the Saints fans have been blessed with 16 years of continuity. In order to continue some of that continuity, there is a guy, a great candidate and defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. We saw him take over for Sean Payton when he was out with COVID against the Bucs.
Right.
Just a few weeks ago, and the Saints did a great job that game. They shut out the Buccaneers. They scored 9 points. They showed an offense. They did enough to set up some field goals. And Dennis Allen would be a great candidate to carry the torch for Sean Payton's legacy. He obviously knows the system. He's been in the building for a number of years now.
Yep.
If you elevate Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator, hopefully you keep Pete Carmichael, the long-time offensive coordinator for the Saints. He's going to call plays. You can elevate a guy like Ryan Hill, the defensive coordinator, or you can bring in a guy like Eric Glenn, who just recently left the Saints. No follow Dan Campbell to Detroit. He did get promoted to defensive coordinator position at Detroit, but Eric Glenn's a guy who also knows the system, very respected around the league. Played for Bill Belichick for a long time, understands defenses, understands how to be a professional coach. So there are valuable candidates out there. I do believe Dennis Allen has to be on a very short list of who the Saints want to interview immediately first. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously the cupboard's not empty. This defense is very, very high quality, if not elite. And if the Saints can just find their quarterback moving forward here, whether it's through free agency or through the draft or sticking with Jameis Winston. And look, before he got hurt, Winston was 5-2 playing winning football. His interceptions were way down, but you got to kind of wonder how much of that was affected by Sean Payton.
Yeah. Last question for you, Jonathan. You got a gut feeling on whether or not anytime in the future we'll see Sean Payton patrolling the sidelines as a coach in the NFL again?
My gut feeling is yes, he will coach again. I mean, the man's only 58 years old, so have a lot of coaching or football ahead of him. I do think he'll be back on the sidelines. Look, if he wants to go do television, I have no doubt that Sean Payton will be good at TV.
Oh, yeah.
He understands the game better than most. And here's something to think about. And Deuce McAllister brought this up in a radio interview. And the broadcaster asked, Deuce, what kind of effect TV would have on Sean Payton, the coach. And you get an opportunity as a broadcaster, especially if you're on a weekend crew, that you get to watch practice on Friday, you meet with player and coaches on Saturday, and you broadcast the game.
Right.
Sean Payton will have a valuable opportunity to go pick the brains of all these different coaches and kind of figure out, Coach, I noticed you do this on third down, so what's your thinking there?
Right.
You get a lot more information as Sean Payton, the broadcaster, as Sean Payton, the coach of the opposing team.
Right.
So I think that's just going to fill Sean with a lot of new ideas, a lot of new perspectives on how to attack defenses and how to better coach his players. I do not think this is the end for Coach Sean Payton. Obviously, I would rather him not be in the NFC South or even the NFC if he ever did come
Definitely,
back.
God forbid.
But yeah, even if he does come back, CB, there's no doubt in my mind he will forever hold a very special place in the hearts of Saints fans, and he will walk together forever with the Who Dat Nation.
For those that, for whatever reason, don't yet know, how can they catch you on Tigers Roar?
That's right, Tigers Roar every Wednesday, 8 o'clock here on the Pelican. You can also check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. We have all the Tigers Roars archived for your viewing pleasure. Just go on to YouTube, and while you're there, go ahead and click subscribe to Pelican so you can know every time we post something new. Lots of stuff on the Pelican YouTube page, so go check it out. Tigers Roar with me, Jonathan Poche, and the Bud Man, Buddy Sanji, every Wednesday, 8 o'clock here on the Pelican.
Good stuff, Jonathan Poche. As always, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you much.
Thank you, CB.
All right, let's get this break out of the way. When we come back, I would imagine most of you watching right now grew up with your parents telling you, a man is only as good as his word. Some used to phrase it, your word is your bond. What does it say when you break it? We'll talk about the leader of the free world, chuckle, chuckle, when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
You've waited, and now Toyotathon is here at Team Toyota. Every new Toyota is on sale with end-of-year savings. And with our Buy Here, Sell Here program, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade. The selection and savings are right here for you at Team Toyota, I-12 at O'Neill.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. If you were with us heading into the last commercial break, and particularly if you were not, I mentioned if you're a boomer or anywhere near the crossover, you probably remember very well your parents, guardians, teachers, elders instilling within us the fact that a man is only as good as his word. You would oftentimes hear it said, a man's word is his bond. If you say you're going to do something, you're obligated to do whatever it is that you said you would do from this point on. Anything less than that cast you as a hypocrite, a liar, a fake, all of the above. It is painful to watch the increasing apparent anger that resides within President Joe Biden. Obviously, this guy does not care for Peter Doocy, White House correspondent for Fox News. Week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Peter Doocy attempted to ask him a question, and the president, leader of the free world, was caught saying, "What a stupid question." So a week, roughly, goes by, and there's a press briefing. Peter Doocy attempts to ask Joe Biden a question about how much liability the Democrats will face heading into the 2022 elections with inflation being so high. After a very sarcastic answer, and then thinking that the microphone was turned off, went on to say, "Stupid son of a," and you fill in the rest of it here. I cannot begin to imagine, let me say for the record, the pressure that resides on the shoulders of any individual carrying the torch of the leader of the free world. Understanding that in many cases it takes a superhuman effort to mask your true feelings about individuals and issues. Now, that being said, there is also something to be said about respecting the office and what it represents, such that I don't care what you ask me. I don't care how you ask what you ask. I'm not going to lower myself beneath the dignity of the office. That's a given. We in this country grew up, most of us, understanding a respect for the office. And that street, obviously, runs in both directions. As the leader of the free world, you have an obligation to respect the dignity of the office. And whether you think the microphone is on or off should play no part in it. But you know, there's this wonderful new invention. Some of you may not have heard about it just yet, but it pretty much ensures that things you say publicly, while you might want people to forget, and while the mainstream media might attempt to provide you cover for it, it's always there. English teachers, here we go, in 3, 2, 1. It ain't going away. It's going to be there. So, after this statement, calling Peter Doocy a stupid son of a, you fill in the rest here, folks started pointing out the hypocrisy. You may not remember, there was an event called World Press Freedom Day. Back in May of 2020, less than 2 years ago, Joe Biden issued a statement for World Press Freedom Day where naturally he took the opportunity to demonize then President Donald Trump. Here's what he said. Donald Trump deflects legitimate questions with attacks. He bullies and berates individual members of the press rather than take responsibility for his failures of leadership. Does that ring a bell? Sound familiar? Sound just like old Joe, doesn't it? But I digress. He continued. His efforts to undermine public confidence in the integrity of fact-based reporting violates our core American values and threatens our very system of government. And it is particularly offensive to see the White House spread misinformation and bully reporters in the midst of a global pandemic. Sounds really, really familiar, doesn't it? As president, I will restore a relationship with the independent press that is grounded in mutual respect, even and especially when they critique policies of my administration. So when Peter Ducey asked, is the rate of inflation a liability for the Democrats heading into the midterms? Out of mutual respect and out of respect for you questioning, especially because that's what you're supposed to do, questioning our policies, you call him a stupid son of a fill in the blank. Let's continue, shall we? In a Biden White House, we will have regular, fact-based briefings across my administration's major departments and agencies, like when Pete Buttigieg was MIA for 2 months on maternity leave. Forgot about that one, right? Let's continue. We must return to civility and transparency in America's civic discourse. In a Biden White House, there will be no bullying of the media from the press room podium or by tweet. Newsflash, y'all. Press briefings? Oh, you mean when you come out and read your statement and then turn your back and walk out the room without taking questions? Every single thing that Joe Biden said in this statement on World Press Freedom Day, he has done 180 degrees the opposite. Of course now, English teachers, forgive me, 3, 2, 1. This ain't the first time a Democrat done lied to you, and it ain't gonna be the last. It's not gonna be the last, y'all. This guy, there was an article last week, and we're gonna talk about this tomorrow when I have sufficient time to devote to it. But there is a very, 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 very disturbing pattern here. Every single thing that Joe Biden spent months and months and months convincing you that Donald Trump was so evil and so guilty of, he has done tenfold. Well, Donald Trump, he wants to be a dictator. Who is bypassing the legislative process and ruling by ink pen? Well, if Donald Trump is elected, the stock market gonna crash. Have you seen the Dow in the last week? Well, if Donald Trump gets elected, prices are gonna be all out of control. Who's now in charge of the economy with the highest inflation rate in 40 years? If y'all keep Donald Trump in the White House, more people gonna die from COVID. Excuse me? Your death toll has now surpassed Donald Trump's, even with the vaccines for the whole year. Every single thing that this guy, and lest we forget, the mainstream media told you / lied to you to your face about, we now find out, he was actually talking about himself. Who would have thought? Go figure. Of course, we tried to tell you. God knows we conservatives tried to the best of our ability to tell you. But it's amazing how the media can influence your mind. They told you incessantly, over and over and over again, orange man racist, orange man bad, orange man racist. And they conned you into voting for the guy who co-authored the piece of legislation that blocked up more black people in this country than any single piece of legislation since Jim Crow. Maybe that's why he's so fond of the phrase Jim Crow 2.0. It's the new and improved Joe Biden. And you still voted for him, even though under Donald Trump, more black people had jobs since they've been keeping records of it in this country. You voted for Joe Biden because Donald J. Trump's a racist. But it was Donald Trump, with the stroke of a pen, that said, oh, wait, this isn't right. HBCUs should not have to come to Washington, D.C. every freaking year, hat in hand, begging for funding. Where's my pen? I'm going to fix this. All right, for the next 10 years, Southern, Grambling, Valley, Jackson State, all the HBCUs, your funding is now guaranteed. Oh, and by the way, it'll increase every year, 2.5% for the next 10 years. But he's a racist. Oh, and we forgot, all them black folk that Joe Biden was so proud of locking up, he nicknamed the bill the Lock the SOBs Up. Joe must have this thing, Marty, about SOBs. Calling Peter Ducey stupid SOB, and he ain't say B, but this is a family show. And after locking up all them folk, it was Donald Trump that let him out. But orange man bad, orange man racist. Look what you got now. Some of y'all ain't gonna get that till later, but that's okay, as long as at some point you get it. Now listen, y'all, I understand. I have been there and done that. When the light goes off in your mind and you go, I'll be a son. These people have been lying to me to my face. It ain't comfortable. You feel embarrassed, betrayed, angry, stupid. How in the world could I have fallen for this crap? But let me tell you something. When you finally face up to it, when you finally deal with reality and what it's all about, trust me on this, because I've been there and done that, y'all. You will have a peace about you that is indescribable. Because you've now decided, I will never, ever let these folks hijack my mind again. The freedom to think and to act like a real American is something you cannot put a price on. And you can take that to the bank. Final break of today's show. We'll come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales would like to invite everyone to their newly renovated events hall, a beautiful 9,600 square foot facility that features a 5,500 square foot main hall and a separate 600 square foot conference room. Renters have access to our huge kitchen, large stage, tables, chairs, bar, and covered outdoor cooking. So plan your next wedding, party, conference, and more at The Post on Church Point Road, Gonzales.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I mentioned to you last week how if you're not aware how people will use your political influence / vote to do certain things. And of course, when you give them your vote, it now licenses them to do something, quote, in your name. I can't begin to imagine the percentage of my fellow Americans that are saying to themselves, the NC2A allowing a dude to compete against females is blatantly unfair. Now, let's understand something here, y'all. The people that are pushing for this University of Pennsylvania dude swimmer to compete against other females, them ain't conservatives, y'all. I think everybody watching right now knows who's responsible for this lunacy, this insanity. And it's being done in your name. You do realize, do you not? Liberals, they ain't Republicans. They're all Democrats. And they took your vote to do this in your name. Yeah, but Clarence, I didn't tell them they could do that, but they did it anyway. All these folks doing these insane things, they're Democrats. And the party, because you zealously, religiously, dedication beyond belief, vote for them no matter what. So they come away thinking, well, if they voted for us, it must be okay for us to do it. Walk up today, randomly, to 1,000 of your fellow Americans and ask them, what do you think about guys competing against girls? Is it fair? Is it just? Should we do that? The hands down, overwhelming majority will look at you like you've lost your ever-loving mind. Of course it's not fair. Of course it's not just. Are you freaking kidding me? Do you really have to ask me for an answer to know whether it's unfair or not? And yet, they are soldiering on, marching dead ahead. Of course, now, these are also the same people that will tell you 1 and 1 is not necessarily 2. Mathematics, it's racist, the whole concept. These are the same people, y'all, that will fill your head with so much foolishness, you better wrap it with duct tape so when it explodes, at least you'll have all the pieces. And yet, how many of y'all, when you walk in that most sacred of places, you close the curtain, you look at the screen, how many of you are still looking for the D behind the person's name? Too many. Way too many. But the good thing about America is the shift in the pendulum. Watch the pendulum swing all the way in one direction. And when all that energy has been expended, what does it do? It heads back the other way. Ain't gonna be long, y'all. Hang in there, my fellow Americans. It's swinging back. And hopefully this time we will remember to never, ever let it swing this far again, especially when it's done in your name, knowing you don't agree with it. That ought to tell you something right there about how they really feel about you. Time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But once again, this day, maybe more so than any other, I give it to you. You know what? You're right. America, we ain't perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, I know you got the memo by now. You realize that he loves you. And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, it really doesn't matter because there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.